Konnichiwa! The Polymega is due out this February, and there's been a ton of news from the official Polymega website and the official Polymega Twitter feed. And the biggest news of all fell this week. You can get your hands on the Polymega before anyone else. Let's get into this. Game on! Welcome back to the Retro Gamer Boy channel. My name's Mike, and if you love retro gaming, then you may want to consider subscribing by clicking on a little button around here somewhere. And if you enjoy this show, then it would be awesome if you could leave me a little thumbs up. Now, if you don't know what the Polymega is, you can check out a little video that I made up here, which will take you through all the fundamentals of this brand new retro gaming console. But in short, it allows you to play a ton of your old games, including your CD-based games, on modern TVs. It also allows you to download your old physical media onto the system itself, creating a virtual digital library of your entire retro gaming collection. And probably one of the biggest features of all, and the thing that I'm getting most excited about, is the ability to play light gun games on your LCD screen TVs with your original titles. Now, the Polymega hasn't gone without some controversy. It's been delayed for over a year, with many fans being disappointed with the lack of communication, and theories about the console being fake and a scam surrounded it for the last 8 months. But at the end of last year, we got confirmation that the Polymega will be shipping in February this year. And since that time, we've had a ton of information drop from the Polymega team, including screens of the Polymega being manufactured and teaser shots of the final console itself. We also got another glimpse of the interface via the language update that dropped last year. Now, the big news dropped this week, with Polymega announcing that they are opening up beta trials for the Polymega, and you can actually get your hands on a Polymega system before anyone else by signing up for the beta test scheme. Now, the beta test scheme is only available to those that have pre-ordered the Polymega, and it will allow you to get your hands on Polymega hardware before anyone else. Now, what exactly this beta scheme is for and what is testing is still unknown. And this is where some people are getting nervous. There's a real concern in the community that having a beta test at this point, just before it's due to ship out, is indicating that there's going to be another delay. This is a genuine concern that people have, and that people have voiced to me through the comments on my Polymega videos. Why are they beta testing hardware at this point? Does it mean that it's not ready? Are we looking at another delay of the Polymega system? Well, not necessarily. And having been in the games industry for 20 years now and been part of 4 console releases, I've seen hardware beta releases happen just before the launch of a console. And a lot of the time it's to test the software on the machine. Now, the Polymega is a software emulation console. It also has online functionality and a user interface. And my guess is this is what they're testing. How compatible is the Polymega with a huge library of games? Now, despite extensive testing, there's just no way they're going to be able to have tested a ton of physical games. And this is where I think the community are going to come in and what the beta test is actually for. I genuinely think that the Polymega team are putting out this beta test of hardware to test the actual software of the console. How does it perform in the wild? How does it perform with physical games? Now, the Polymega does have an online component to it. Now, I don't think this is actually a store, but I think it is for software updates. And so through a beta test, they'll be able to get some indication of what compatibility is like on games and how the emulators are working and user interface. And through the feedback that they get from beta testers, they'll be able to put out a day one patch for when the console launches for real. This will allow them to address any severe compatibility issues they may have that they wouldn't be able to test, get feedback on the user interface, how easy is it to navigate the menu system to download your games, and to test if there are any bugs in the actual software itself. Like I said, this is a genuine thing that console manufacturers do. I've been part of the Xbox One release, part of the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PSP release. And all of these things happened with internal dog fooding. So dog fooding is where a company will actually give physical hardware to its staff. So the idea is if the dog food's good enough, you'd eat it yourself. And so they'll have home testing. Now with companies like Sony and Microsoft, you're dealing with tens of thousands of staff, and so you can get a really good test without necessarily putting that hardware out to the general public. But they also do hardware beta testing with the general public, both internally and externally. And so for the Polymega, it's no different. I think this is purely just to test the software portion of the console itself. Now, it could also be that this is a hardware beta test. That would be a little bit more worrying than a software beta test, because it does usually mean that your hardware isn't ready to go out into general public consumption and could indicate a delay. But I truly believe that this is a software beta test. With everything I've been through throughout my entire career in console development, this is regular, this is part of the norm, and it often happens just before release because this is the point where you have final software ready to test. Now, I'm still excited for the Polymega, and I know there are other options, some maybe even better than the Polymega, but I love the form factor, I love that I'll be able to play my light gun games with it, and I love the modular aspect of the console. And so come February 2020, I've got my fingers crossed that we'll all be sitting down with our Polymegas playing a ton of our old games on modern LCD screens. That's it for today's show. Next video we'll be checking out my ongoing quest to collect every single Sega Mega Drive game released in the UK. Currently I'm focusing on EA's titles, which made up nearly a quarter of the entire collection, and we'll be going through my latest pickups for that collection. If you love retro gaming, then the Retro Game Boy Show has got you covered. You can subscribe by clicking on my little pixel head below, and so that you never miss an update, you can click on the little bell below here somewhere. And to keep it going, you can check out one of these two videos over here.